I like to say that product development is a sequence of questions that need to be answered in the right order. Okay, and then depending on how far you want to go, if you want to go all the way to the market, you have to answer all those questions. Usually the exercise that we do in the AgriThority, we get down to 10 questions that need answers. So if you want to license something to someone like Syngenta, you have to go some way and answer those questions. And we should do it very well, scientifically. I mean, Jackie will not look into lousy data, and that's probably where we see that people try to jump and they mix things. I mean, usually I see a lot of people, a lot of companies that we talk to, they bring what we call side-by-sides. There are things that essentially are promotional, but not product development. So I think that that's the thing. Be very critical about what questions you want to answer, and then design your experiments to actually do that. Design your tries to answer those questions and do it. And sometimes people say, well, I'm jumping a step. I say, no, you're just wasting money, resource, and time in doing that because you're not answering the question and you're not producing data that is robust enough to attract the attention of someone like Jackie, let's say. Okay, so that's the thing that we see the most. Okay. Mm-hmm. I think that the answers are, I mean, we do have those answers. Usually I say, okay, does it work? Can it be registered? Can you scale it up? How to use it? Is it resilient? So those are kind of things that translate into a number of a lot of work that needs to be done. The point, though, that is not clear yet, at least in the biological space specifically, is how do you answer those questions? Because there is still not a kind of good standard. I would say that for chemistry, it's much easier if you think about it. I mean, because you do 95% yes, no, out. You're saying there is already a model for that. But for biologicals, there is still a lot of, okay, what is good enough? And that is a definition that will help a lot to set up the environment that you just mentioned, okay, the ecosystem of support for the industry. It's very common that we hear people telling us, we're going to do this, and that, but somebody else will do this, or a partner will do that. There are two bad things with that kind of strategy if you don't have the right data to present yourself. Number one, they will not pay attention to you. One. But number two is that at a given point, even if they pay attention to you, they may know more about your product than yourself. And then you don't have any idea of the value of your product. They have. So this is the kind of thing that I always wonder why, okay, you have to invest a little bit more. It's not a lot just to be here. No. Somebody else will do that. They'll say, no. What they are doing, it's not that they are testing again. They are testing in the combinations with their products, in their programs, in their thing. So this is a different thing. It's about the resilience of the product and the flexibility of the product. It's a downstream question. But I mean, really about the performance of the product and everything, the proponent of the technology should be the one doing that. In our case, we are a service company. I always have that conversation. We are being paid to do a job. So once a partner asked me, what about the IP of that? To say, sorry, you cannot work with us on that particular thing because that's the kind of question. But I understand that this is a difficult point to be solved when you negotiate. And by the way, this is one of the questions, can you protect something? And this is one of the questions that you better know the answer to that. Typical question of think globally, act locally. What I mean is whenever you think about it, it's good to have a really strategic, very early on, say what do we want to do, where we want to do something and where we want to go. Why? Because eventually, if you are in Europe, maybe if you have a biocontrol product, probably being to the US and going to Brazil, for instance, to develop it, as your first place could be better, because a lot of the work that we do, you probably will get to the market first, and then you can, everything that you do for those other places can be used back in Europe. But also the point for me is very clear that you have to think about, I mean, you have does my product work and how to use it. You can centralize that and it just adjust in places. But then there is the point of resilience, meaning does my product work in different conditions and everything. For that, you need to do local development in some shape and form. Okay, so by then, and I always say that, oh, by the way, don't forget that also places like the U.S. doesn't require regulatory trials for performance, but places like Brazil and Europe do. So you need to plan that into your overall thing. And finally, it's just important to say that farmers like, and I mentioned in a negative fashion that someone tries to use promotion to say there is development. I'm in no means I'm kind of saying that promotion is not important. It's just that it should be done at the end. Farmers do expect that you have trials on the ground close to where they are, period. So be prepared to play that when you plan yourself. But as I said, everything is, you can go to a place, then later you can go to another place. So having a plan that it's a stepwise plan, not going everywhere, I mean, in a single shot.